These economic sanctions had pushed Japan into the war. The country, a chain of overpopulated islands lacking in natural resources, was rapidly developing. It was in need of raw materials, and it set out to conquer the nations who had them by force. Japan had built up its navy to become one of the second most powerful fleets in the world, with no less than 10 aircraft carriers, and with highly sophisticated fighter aircraft. The remarkable Zero, for example, which outperformed Allied planes in terms of speed, maneuverability and range. This in addition to an army of millions of men fiercely devoted to their emperor. Hirohito is the 124th Emperor of Japan. The scholarly monarch studies marine biology in the laboratory in his palace. He is a living god. The actions of his military are covered by his divine authority. In China, the imperial army had carried out unbelievable massacres, such as in Nanking in 1937, where 300,000 Chinese were slaughtered before the Japanese could proudly parade through the Forbidden City in Beijing. The emperor reigns, but does not govern. Power lies in the hands of General Tojo and an ultra-nationalist group that controls the country via their local Gestapo, the Kempeitai, and via loudspeakers that broadcast the official declaration of war against the United States. These Japanese pilots who took off from Indochina at breakfast time do not fear the British. They are looking for 2 British battleships that have come to protect Singapore, the venerable Repulse and one of the most modern combat ships of the time, the Prince of Wales, the pride of the Royal Navy. They are both sunk by the Japanese in less than an hour. A fateful date, the end of Great Britain's dominion over the seas. The following day, in Berlin, the Führer goes to the Reichstag for a meeting of Nazi leaders. For 4 critical days, since Pearl-Harbour and Japan's entry into the war against the United States, Hitler has been waiting in vain for Roosevelt to declare war on Germany. If Hitler sides with Japan, perhaps Tokyo will support him in Russia. The German generals, however, are far from enthusiastic. Ribbentrop, the foreign minister, has tried to dissuade Hitler, but Hitler declares war on the United States.
Deutschland, Italien und Japan werden den ihnen von den Vereinigten Staaten von Amerika und England.
We know what powers stand behind Roosevelt. It is the eternal Jew. I am grateful to the German people for designating me to lead this historic struggle that will determine the history of the world for the next 10 centuries to come.